Welcome to the show, Bruce Soscia. How you doing, buddy?
Thanks, Vinny. Thank you. Great to have you on the screen here in my living room. I appreciate you inviting me on the chat.
It's my pleasure, man. And like I said, I've been watching for a while, and I always wanted to get you on. So, Bruce, you've been in a lot of movies, man. You're a great guy, and
Thank
we
you.
have a lot of mutual friends, and you're a consummate actor. Let's tell the group a little bit about yourself.
I live down here in Palm Beach County, Florida nowadays, but I'm actually originally from Providence or Cranston, Rhode Island, the smallest state. And I always say in between New York and Boston. That's where I grew up. So a lot of times people assume I'm from New York or from Boston, but I'm from the middle. So right in between. And you can tell in my dialect sometimes I get accused of being from New York or Boston, depending on where I am. So yeah.
So, what got you into the acting field? What gave you the bug?
Yeah, it's funny. Back in the days, one of my closest friends, Peter Manfredo Jr., he was the pride of Providence. He was a famous boxer. He made it on the NBC's Contender TV show early 2000s. And, I got to kind of ride his coattails, fly around, go to Hollywood, and got to be in the limelight with him in his boxing journey. And it was really fun. I got to meet a lot of stars and celebrities way before I made my splash in Hollywood. But so I've kind of been around it for a while. And, I just turned 50 recently. So I didn't get into acting until I was 40. So I got about 10 years in the game. It was really by accident, man. I got asked to go to an open casting call for a Mark Wahlberg movie back, and geez, 10 years ago now. So in Boston. And I ended up getting selected, and I had no aspirations of being an actor. I was a barber. I had 12 barbershops. So I was, street kid, blue collar guy, ran some nightclubs, did some funny stuff, drove trucks. But, neighborhood guy, man. I never really left the area until I got into acting. But somehow, some way, I got in and ended up taking acting classes and really took it to the next level and doubled down and invested some time and money and effort into myself. And it turned into a wonderful opportunity, man. I say it all the time that it's more of a therapeutic thing for me. It's really a far cry from where I started and where I came from. And I'm enjoying it, man. I'm having a good time. Like you said, I'm doing a bunch of movies and TV shows, and I've worked with all types of A-list actors, and those are the ones that you get to brag about. But some of the independent films really for me were more fulfilling and more fun. Artist freedom, where I got to improv and really turn characters into, breathe life into some characters that I was trusted with by some really great directors. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. You've been around some really great actors. I'm a big fan of indies. You know that. Mention some of the people you worked with.
Yeah, so on the studio level, I had a movie come out where I got beat up by Liam Neeson. That was pretty epic, and everybody gets a kick out of it, especially back home, because I was always kind of like a tough kid, tough guy. I got in a lot of fights when I was younger. And, the funniest thing back home, guys would say, "Hey, you let that old man kick your ass." And I said, "It's Liam Neeson, man. I got to, take one now and then." So Liam Neeson was awesome. He was a sweetheart. He gave me a big hug at the end of our day filming together. One of my boys, Jimmy Shirts from East Boston, he was on set that day. So he got to kind of see me in action one-on-one with Liam Neeson in the scenes. And I got a really dope photo of Liam Neeson hugging me at the end. And, he gave me some great words of wisdom and encouragement. I take that with me forever, man. Liam Neeson is somebody that we've all grown up watching and, admiring his movies and all that. So to be in a scene with him, having dialogue, that was great. But also to have him beat me up, a nice choreographed ass whooping. I loved it, man. I loved every second of it. I ate it right up. That was cool. And then Adrian Brody, I mean, it was one of my first principal roles that was actually not a studio film. It was a big indie. It was actually Adrian Brody's own movie that he, I believe, wrote and produced and starred in, but it was called Clean. It was on IFC. It made a decent splash. It was a really violent, badass movie, gritty movie with Adrian Brody, but I had some nice one-on-one, up in his face, showing I had the hoodie on. And, the fuck you looking at? I got to really get in his space. So yeah, Adrian Brody, he was cool, he was fun. And then Rob Lowe, one of my biggest opportunities that I've had to really flex my acting muscles on a grand stage was a Netflix number one trending movie in the world, which is pretty badass a couple of years ago. And yeah, man, it was Rob Lowe. That was kind of a dream moment for me. I was doing an indie film out in California, and I flew across the country to Atlanta and got to do a movie with Rob Lowe, where I was the biker. I was the president of the biker gang. I had about 100 guys with me with their vests and patches and Harleys, and it was really cool because me flying in and going for that role, all the guys that I met on set that day, they were like real deal, gritty down south bikers, man. They all came from different clubs and kind of rode in on their bikes, and however they did their casting call. It was pretty cool. It was really interesting to see all these guys converge and then put on the costume, essentially, the biker jackets that we were wearing, supplied by Netflix. It was just really wild, the conversations we had. And at that time, I had never even rode a motorcycle. That was the secret. They just casted me because I'm a big guy with tattoos and muscles, and they loved my audition. I actually auditioned shirtless for that role with all my tats showing, and they were like, "This is the guy." And then when I got there, and the funny story is that only a few people know. The director came to me in my trailer and he said, "Hey, by the way, you ride, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And I really didn't. And I grew up in the city, man. And I wasn't one of those guys with a bike. I was always in Cadillacs. And he said, "Yeah, at the end of the scene, you're going to get on your Harley and lead the pack and drive off the scene with like 100 bikes." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." So I literally didn't know how to ride a motorcycle. So I went and grabbed the guy whose bike it was and I was like, "Yo, bro, I got to talk to you." And he was like, "What's up, man? What's up?" And he was all pumped up, excited that his bike was in the show and all that. And I said, "Dude, I don't ride, bro. I have no idea how to even start your bike." And he was like, "What?" And he was all freaked out. I said, "Bro, you got to help me, man. I owe you one." And he was so cool. And he kind of said to the director, "Hey, let me take him down the street to like show him how my bike works, the intricate details of how to mess with my bike's quirky." And he covered me. And we went down the street and he gave me like a 3-minute tutorial. Next thing you know, I'm riding all around the neighborhood in Georgia and came back on set. And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And a monsoon rainstorm happened right after we did our dialogue scenes and we were about to do the right away scene, which I still was like, "Man, I hope I don't dump this guy's bike." And they ended up scrapping that part. And I was so thankful. But after that, I moved to Florida. I came down here and I took, a motorcycle class. I got my license. Next thing you know, I got Ducatis and all kinds of bikes, and I love it. But yeah, it's a really interesting story. But Rob Lowe, he was awesome. He was super cool and fun. But I just gave you guys a little inside sauce on that one. I had my Netflix trailer. I thought I was all cool until they said, "Yeah, you're gonna lead the pack with a." Now I would do it in a heartbeat and not sweating because I've been riding for a few years. But man, I was nervous, man. That was a scary moment. I was like, I'm gonna get sued by Netflix."
So that's rule number one being an actor. Fake it till you make it.
I guess so, man. Sometimes I tell people, "No, don't do that." But in this moment, I gotta say, practice what you preach. I did fake it till I made it, and yeah, it's funny
It
because
worked out. It worked out.
I get biker auditions all the time, and it's kind of funny because I think a lot of them saw me in that role, and they're like, "Yeah, he's a biker," and I'm like, I do have bikes and stuff, but I'm the farthest thing from a biker, man. I do it now, like, because I enjoy jumping on and go a 20, 30-minute ride, but I'm not some avid biker. I don't deserve it. There's guys more qualified than me, but it is fun, man. I enjoy any opportunity I get to perform, man. Like I said, it's therapeutic for me. I really dig it. And, I'm realistic also. Like, sure, I'm considered a full-time working actor, but at the same time, like, I work in private equity. I run a nonprofit organization. When I get the acting roles, I take them with bells on. I really enjoy working with good directors that really have a heart for actors. There's different kinds of directors. And I've always wanted to say this, on an interview, but there's some directors that are glorified DPs. They just want to get the shot list done. And then there's directors that take the time in pre-production to really work with the talent and the actors to really, make sure that everyone's on the same page and that there's some sort of artist freedom and there's an ability to really breathe life into the characters that you're, commissioned with. For me anyway, that's why I love the studio level. There's always way more money and bigger names typically to work with, but on the independent level is a lot of artist freedom, I like to call it, where there's a lot of opportunity where I can actually, go to a director and say, "Hey, I got this idea. I really think this would work for this character." And I've been very blessed. A lot of the directors that I've worked with, I'm like, "Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, let's try that." And then do it this way and then do it your way. And, and sometimes for me, there's not a lot of time. Budgets are budgets and you got to work quickly. But, I'm very studied. I'm a studied actor. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to kind of draw a line in the sand. There's a lot of guys that say I'm an actor because they've shown up in a couple of films, and that's cool. But for me, like, I actually take it really serious. I've studied for years. I've worked with some really great coaches and mentors. I've spent a lot of time with some notable big name actors at their house and like picking their brain and talking shop. And like, I learned a lot of cool things along the way just from being on, a lot of sets, man. I've probably been on almost 100 film sets at this point, and I probably have, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 credits or something like that. But the point is, I've spent a lot of time studying the game, all aspects. How do the cameras work? I want to know everybody's job. So for me, it really is a joy. It's not just the big name scenes are the ones that really get me the accolades, and he's worked with this one and that one. But it's not just about that. For me, it's really about any opportunity I get to perform. I take it serious, and I really try to bring my best. I don't care if it's a low budget or a micro budget or if it's a big studio level. Like, I try to make sure that my reputation is always that this guy comes correct and he breathes life into a character. You don't need to redirect me unless there's something, valuable you want me to try. I show up prepared and studied and versed, and I really do take it serious. So that's I'm saying that to share it out loud for anybody listening that's either in the game or is trying to get in the game. It's definitely not for everybody. And I would strongly suggest anybody that has, any kind of goal or idea in their head that they want to break into the business, make sure you don't quit your day job, man. Make sure you have an income stream. Make sure you have, secured your finances, because it's a very tough road. And there's guys that have been in the game for years that are notably famous. They can't go places without being recognized, and they're broke. And that's the sad part of this industry is it's not like punching a clock, man. You get opportunities here and there, and you just hope that one of them turns into something really big and goes, viral, as they say. And then maybe you have more opportunities that come off the heels of those opportunities. So, it's a gift, it's a blessing every time. I try to be as grateful and thankful every single opportunity I get to perform, whether it's a small supporting role or all the way up to, I got my first lead role coming up. I'll be filming in California, and I believe in July. So we're still working out the logistics, but I'm really excited about that project. I have a director out of LA that, really excited. He saw my work in the last film that just came out a couple of weeks ago. I had a film drop on Prime. It's called Winter Set. So if anybody wants to see some more of my work, search Winter Set, one word. It's a town in Iowa in the middle of the country where I got to play the New York City slicker. I had the fur coat and the pinky rings, and just another day in my life. It was all my own wardrobe, but it was kind of funny. I'm in the middle of America with cornfields and, blistering cold weather, like -40 or so, I don't know, 4 degrees or something, but it was freezing. I was in the middle of nowhere, and I'm a city kid, man. It was like, where the hell am I? But we made a really badass movie, bro. So if you get a chance to watch Winter Set, I would challenge anybody out there that likes heist movies or thriller movies. It's one of those kind of like you get sucked in the beginning, and then next thing you know, this thing just takes off in, about midway, and it's fast and there's a lot of action you don't expect. It just comes around every corner. So shout out to Mike Blevins out in LA, the writer, director, producer, the creator of that film. And the one thing I love about him, he knows the game inside and out. He's been out in LA for a long time, and he knows how to make a really high level film for a low budget, which is like a superpower. And I think you guys will get I'm really proud. I think you guys will get a kick out of Winter Set. Anybody who tunes in and search that up, it's going to drop on all the other platforms in a couple of weeks, but Amazon Prime did some sort of early release, and it's been out for like a week or maybe two at this point. And it was fun even for me. I bought the movie and I watched it again, and a lot of my friends that I put it on, online, Facebook and Instagram, people have been blowing me up with messages. Man, this movie's so cool. And I'm like, don't give it away though, because there's some really wild stuff that happens in it, and I don't want to give it away online. I want people to see it for themselves, because it's a big surprise what happens in that movie to me.
Yeah, Michael Blevins has been around. I actually had a conversation with him maybe about a year ago, so I'm familiar with Mike, and he's a
Yeah.
workhorse, so he puts out some great stuff.
He's doing great. We got a few other projects in the pipeline together that we hope to bring to the table this year in 2026. So we're working on that. And yeah, man, it's every day for me is in this business is a blessing. It's a gift. I'm very grateful. I try to shout out William DeMeo from Gravesend. I love being on that TV show. It's one of my favorite projects. It's like a big family, a big brotherhood. There's all the New York guys, and I'm the Providence guy, right? So it's fun for me to be the outsider that, kind of made it into the Brooklyn crew on the show. And I've been friends with those guys for years, but it's cool that we got to consummate our relationship on film back in season 2, which actually was one of the reasons why I ended up moving to Florida. We filmed in Miami a few years back, and I was flying down from Providence. I still had a few barbershops left, and I just took the leap of faith, man. I ended up, selling my businesses and saying, you know what, this palm trees are just way too attractive, man. I can't just do the in and out stuff. I got to make it my home, and I'm down here now. It's the best thing I ever did. I love Palm Beach County. I'm palm trees in the front yard, in the backyard, get the pool, the whole bit, year round, beautiful weather, not to rub it in, but I love my Philly guys, my New York guys, my New Jersey guys, my Boston guys, and of course, Providence, Rhode Island, Federal Hill. Hats off to my friends back home and my family. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing like being down here, man. I gotta say, like,
The weather, I know.
it's not just the that the winter I don't get the snow and all that. And I love snow, I love all that, but there's just there's something different here. Going outside, even in the blistering hot weather in the middle of the summer, it's just different, man. You could have a rough day, you go outside, you're looking at palm trees. It's just there's something different here. And it's not for everybody. Some people go, it's too hot. Okay, well, stay up there, no problem. But come see me in the winter. Yeah, man, I love it down there. And then Ciro DePaggio, another guy that gave me a shot. Mob King, great movie. We worked our butts off, like literally, you know, I'm one of those guys that likes to do my own stunts, especially fighting and shooting guns. And I'm real physical and I just get in it, man. I love to get in it and bring my passion to the table. And Juan Bofill, one of the best stunt coordinators I've worked with. I worked with him on Mob King and in Gravesend, right? So I've worked with him. Just recently, I did a movie with David A.R. White out of LA. He was the creator of PureFlix. I'm pretty sure he sold his platform to Sony and he's back out making indie movies, action movies. And one of the things I like about him is it kind of goes with my faith walk. He makes action movies, which are fun for guys like me, but no egregious sex scenes and over the top swearing and stuff like that. So, and his movies are on Netflix. So, here's a guy that I like to stand behind his work. And I just did some scenes and action scenes with those guys in Fort Lauderdale. They came down from LA and shot here in Florida. So it was, right down the street essentially. But yeah, man, I'm having a lot of fun. Dominic Giannetti, another local guy doing some local indie films here. He's, asked me to do some of his movies and hopefully some of those. I think one of them just came out recently. Fourth and 44 is a football movie, and I get to play the football coach. So I don't just do the gangster roles. I know that's kind of first nature, and of course, I'm gonna always, take the good ones that I get. But I'm a trained actor, man. I can do anything. So when I get opportunities to do the football coach and the priest and all the different roles, I have an audition right now that I got to look at. They want me for a movie in LA, and they want me to film as a deli guy, like standing behind the deli. I'm like, sure. So for me, I'm not a one trick pony. I try to take the opportunities as they come and do the best I can to breathe life into them.
That's the thing, and it's you kind of sometimes you get in the same, kind of get in the same that same role. You're a
Yeah.
big guy. So it feels good to change it up every so often.
Well, it's funny because you make a good point. I remember Armand Asante early on in my acting career because I was friendly with him before I became an actor, and then through some celebrity events and things that I was involved in. And then as I got into the game and into the space and started taking classes and getting more and more opportunities in film, I spent some time at Armand Asante's house. And one of the things he told me, he looked at me, he said, "Kid, don't listen to anybody that says, don't get stereotyped." He goes, because a lot of people that don't know the business, that's what they say. It's just like a cliche. They don't mean anything bad. It's just they think in their mind like, oh, don't get stuck doing one thing. But he said the reality is play your strength. Whatever your strength is, be the best at that. And Hollywood's going to keep calling you for it. So I don't know. Maybe I'm living proof because I have gotten a lot of those alpha male roles where I'm either the biker guy or the gangster or the mob guy and the tough guy. And, I did a Disney movie where my scenes didn't make the final cut, but I did a Disney movie. It was called Godmother, and I was a construction guy, and I had a few lines at the end of the movie. They ended up trimming the movie, and I didn't make it, but that was another opportunity where I learned a big lesson. I told everybody and their mother, get the Disney Channel, tune in Friday. My movie's coming out. I had 1,000 people, get popcorn and blankets, and they got their kids, and they, watch the whole movie. And then my phone blew up, and my agent called me, goes, "Bro, you didn't make the cut." I was like, "No, this sucks." It was embarrassing, but that's the fact. When you do studio level films, especially, they might shoot a 2-hour film and cut it down to an hour and a half, and they trim the fat sometimes. So as I was coming up in the game, I had I did a movie with Mark Wahlberg, one of the first ones I was talking about earlier, Spencer Confidential. You don't see me in the movie. I was on set. I was looking at, just like I'm looking at you, at Mark Wahlberg and Post Malone and all these guys, and we were in a prison yard, and I was like, man, it was one of my first experiences on a big studio, Netflix project, and I was blown away, and I was just happy to be there. And in that one, I didn't make the final cut. Same thing, Adam Sandler, QB Halloween, another Netflix movie. I was on that one. It was in Marblehead, Mass, above Boston, in Salem, Mass. We shot it up there, and I was a police officer in a uniform. Keenan Thompson, he was the front desk sergeant. Kevin James was the police chief. Adam Sandler was the town crier running in and out of the police station, and I'm just a cop walking around with a coffee cup. And it was, but there was so many, Steve Buscemi, Rob Schneider, all the who's who of all Adam Sandler's boys were on set. I was there for 2 nights, the last 2 nights of the movie, and that was so cool. Adam Sandler, asked me, "Where you from?" I said, "Rhode Island." He goes, "Oh, this is my Rhode Island boy." He's hugging me, and I'm like, "This is Adam Sandler, bro. This is crazy." So even some of the movies that I didn't make the cut, so to speak, where I was on the set for multiple days and I was in the scenes, and maybe I get cut around me or for whatever different reason, I learned a valuable lesson. Like, it's just like anything else. It's You're not in it till you know that you're in it. That's one. But number two, enjoy the ride, man. So like some of those opportunities were like the coolest experiences ever. And I don't even have the proof except for the paycheck and the that I was there and the pictures, BTS shots. But hanging on set with Adam Sandler for a couple nights with all those superstar comedians, man, that was a blast. I'd take that with me for the rest of my life. If I never work with those guys again, it's fine. I was there. I did it. And I get to share those moments with some of my actor friends that were on set those days as well. So, for me, it's for the 10-year span that I've been in film. Of course, I have my goals and milestones that I want to achieve, but I've done so much cool stuff already that I'm forever grateful, man. If I hung up my hat right now, I can't complain. I've had a very good run, and I've really enjoyed, the opportunities that I've had. And I'm, like I said, I'm forever grateful. And anybody out there who's making films, man, I try to be selective and careful what I put my name on, and only for the sake of, because, as you know, in film, there's so many different levels of experience. And I encourage everybody, keep making content, do what you can, get your face in everything you can, but study the game, actually get books and read them about acting. Take acting classes from credible coaches. Like, if you really want to take it to the next level, those are the kind of things that I would suggest. And a lot of guys in the street, they'll tell me, "Well, I heard an interview with so and so, some famous actor, and they said they never took acting classes." You know what? Good for them. That's awesome. But I wouldn't suggest that's the way to go, because that's such a less than 1 in a million shot. It's like 1 in 10 million that you're gonna crack the egg. There's so many people in this business that are trying every day, and even when I do an audition, I want, in the beginning, I want that role so bad, but I got to a realization that when I do an audition, I do it with everything I got, and then I submit it, and then I just move on. I act like it never happened, because 99% of the time, you never hear about it again. There's so many movies come out, and I can recite the words in the movie because I read for that role, and that's crazy to see some like big time. Or I've been on planes before with my headphones on, JetBlue, watching the movie, because I love watching movies on cross country trips. And I've seen movies. I'm like, "Oh my God, why does this title look familiar?" Oh, that's right, I read for this. And then I'll see the scenes come in where I read for that role, and I'm like mouthing the words as they're saying them on the screen. And people probably like, "How the hell is this guy? What's he doing? How's he know?" You know what I mean? But to me, even those experiences just wild to, that I've been that close to some really high level stuff where maybe that, I didn't book that role, but it's just another opportunity to showcase my skills. And I very lucky. I've had some really good mentors along the way that gave me those kind of insights, like, hey, stop trying so hard to like make sure you get that role. Like, just do what you can and move on. Do what you can and move on. And I think that is also a sentiment in life in general. Like, don't sit there and like perseverate on anything. Do your best and keep it moving. And that's, from my heart, my advice to any actors or aspiring actors out there. Just keep it moving, man. Just try your best and keep it moving.
Wise words, brother. Wise words. Now, listen, everybody who's watching this, especially my people, please make sure you're following Bruce. Review his movies. Make sure you're leaving reviews. Make sure you're promoting. You're pushing. Let's engage. We're social media, but it has to be interactive. So please do our parts in helping great actors like Bruce. By
Thank you.
supporting his work, watching, reviewing, all those beautiful things like I always tell my audience to do. Now, so again, let's remind everybody with that you was a winter set. What's the name of the film that you
Yeah.
just are promoting?
So if you go on Prime Video, Amazon Prime Video, and search Winter Set, WINTERSET, and you'll see my face on the movie poster. And yeah, dig in, man. You can rent it or buy it. Obviously, I bought it. I have a nice collection of movies that I've been in that I purchased, and it's a little bragging rights. My kids come over, my grandchildren, my friends. Hey, you want to watch this? Like, again, But no, it's fun, man. I think, and it's another one of those movies where I come in, I get to flex like my skill set. So I have a feeling any of my friends, people that that watch you and me, that come from our genre or demographic, especially people that like a good thriller, a good heist gone bad, a good crime drama movie. That's what Winter Set is. You're gonna love it, and your boy stands out, man. I'm the only city slicker in the movie, so it's a extra cool points. That I'm not in a sea of gangsters and wise guys in like most of the shows I'm in. This one, I'm the only one, so it's not hard to find me in that show. But and I'm clean. I'm clean faced in that one, so as you know, I switch it up. Sometimes I get the beard, sometimes I'm clean faced, but in Winter Set, I'm clean faced, just like in Gravesend.
All
Yeah.
right. Shout out to Will and the gang over there from Gravesend. All right. Well, listen, you've been fantastic, Bruce. You gave us a lot of great insight, and I hope our viewers again got a lot out of it. I know I did. William said he's going to watch it tonight. So thanks, William Horn, my man. He's going to
Yeah.
watch Winter Set
And
tonight.
thanks, guys, all you guys that tuned in. I see the comments on the screen. I never did this kind of interview before. It's actually kind of fun. It's live. There's no retakes, no edits. It's just it is what it is. Keeping it real, man. Authenticity at its finest.
Absolutely. And then, listen, people, people love the ability to interact with us and,
Sure.
and to hear something that isn't so, polished, So if you're just joining now, though, we are going to do a replay. What I'll do is we'll edit it and then we'll pop it back on the Instagram. It'll be on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook, everywhere. So
I
if
see
you get
some questions. You want to do a couple questions?
absolutely. All right, Marky Cigar, Bruce, any more projects with Chiro in the works?
I would love to, man. He's a cool dude. I had a blast working with him. I know you guys saw Mob King, and it's funny. I get stopped in airports for that movie, which I know that movie has gone viral around the world, which is actually really amazing for an independent film. I had a lot of fun working with him. He's a big, strong monster of a guy. Definitely a worthy opponent for fight scenes and shootouts. And as you know, if you saw Mob King, like we really got it on, and with Juan Bofill kind of choreographing all our fights and shootouts. It was one of the most fun experiences I ever had in my life. So I know he's got a bunch of films. Hank, I'm not that far away, Cyril. I'm right up the street. I'm in Florida. You're in Florida. But if you got something for me, call me, bro. You got my number. But so to answer your question, hell yeah, I'd work with him again. If he hits me up, I'm in. I'm game, man. And anybody who has given me an opportunity to perform and they treat me with respect, I always am forever grateful. I'll always champion those projects. There's another film I actually should mention, Once a Week for Life, George Zuvalos over in Astoria, New York. I had some cool scenes in that. I haven't got to watch it yet. I promised him that I would watch it this week, so I'm going to jump online. I'm pretty sure it's on Prime, just like the other one. And I was like an escaped convict, and some action scenes in that one as well. I pop up. So I'm curious to see how that came out, the end finishing cut. So I'll be looking that up. But and yeah, Marquis Cigars. I see Mob King was awesome. Yeah, and Gravesend. Yeah, watch. Get through Gravesend 2. I'm in almost every episode. Gravesend 3 is about to drop. I don't have an actual date, but I heard a rumor that they're going to drop some episodes in May, potentially. I don't know if it's true. I don't get the official word. I'm not high enough on the totem pole in that regard, but that's a huge cast and a huge crew. But I said earlier, man, what an awesome show to be a part of. And there's a lot of guys from all over New York, New Jersey that have been in Gravesend, and a lot of Sopranos, Goodfellas, Bronx Tale, like all your favorite characters that are still with us on this earth. Most of them are in the show. So it's kind of cool for me when I go on set. I have like a film family with that show. It's a blast, man. I got to say. So tune in, check out season 2 so you can be ready for when season 3 drops, because your boy, little secret, your boy's very early on in the show. You'll see me pop up. And I don't want to give away too much. I get
Yeah.
excited. I don't want to start giving away any storylines. But put
Once a
it
week
this
for
way.
life.
Put it this way, in Gravesend season 3, you're gonna see your boy with some of the big names on that show off rip. So be ready, tune in. When they say we're dropping episodes, be the first to check it out. Because I'm telling you right now, that's going on my actor reel. There's some cool stuff that happens very early on with your boy Mario Ludo. But yeah, once a week for life, George Zuvolo, shout out to the guys. A lot of the Gravesend guys jumped in that film, as well as my boy Jimmy Shirts, East Boston. He was in that. We had some cool scenes together, and yeah, I'm really proud of that, man. So, it's funny because I'm at the point now where there was a point where I had like 7 agents and managers all over the country working. I was auditioning 5 to 7 times a week at one point on studio level films. And then I had this great idea to go sign an exclusive deal in LA. And boom, we ended up with a SAG-AFTRA actors strike. So I can't blame the LA agent, but really it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, right? So I've read for a lot of stuff out there, but I'm at the point now I am looking for new representation. I still have my original agent out of the Boston market, Andrew Wilson Agency. I'll forever hold on with them. When there's movies in Boston, I get first crack at them. So that's a huge opportunity for me, and I love those guys. Thank you, Andrew, for always looking out for me. But I'm looking for a manager. I've never had an actual manager. I kind of do all that stuff myself. But I'm at the point now where I'm ready to take it serious and kick it up a notch, go to the next level. I get film offers all the time, and it's tough for me to kind of do it all on my own. So I'm trying to start to build more of a team around me. So any talent managers or agents out there, your boy's on the market. He's looking.
That's great, Bruce. Yeah, and by the way, there was a question out there. Yeah, Robert De Niro is in Once a Week for Life. George Zubelos, I actually interviewed him not too long ago,
Cool,
right before he dropped the Once a Week for Life. So big shout
cool.
out to George and the gang. And Bruce, you've been great, man. So let's go ahead and do this again, maybe in the future when you get some more news for us. In the meantime, everybody, please make sure you are following Bruce on all the social media.
Danny
Watch his
Aiello.
movies.
I don't
What do
mean
we
to
got
interrupt
down
you. Hello, and Danny Aiello was my uncle. Need help? What do you need help with, bro? Danny was a beast, man. He's an icon, a legend, one of my favorite ever actors
here?
in the game. I've talked to some of your family before. They know who I am, and yeah, man, he's a legend, man. I always, even when I was a little kid, watching him and like Do the Right Thing and some of those bigger classic movies, man, he was a beast. Shout out to Danny Aiello.
All right, Marcus Cigar says he has an agent in New York, so DM him, I guess, when you get a chance. All right, guys,
Send him my way.
you've been great, guys. Bruce, you've been generous with your time, brother. You're a
Thank
great
you.
man, and like I said, if you missed the beginning of this, please make sure you watch the edited version. We'll get it cleaned up and make sure we put the front of it. I was blabbing a lot before you came on, so we'll cut that part
So
out.
good.
All right, guys, thanks
I'm glad
again
I
for
get
tuning
to
in.
yeah, I'm glad I get to hang out with you. And guys, follow me, actor Bruce Soscia on Instagram, and follow my philanthropy page. I'm trying to boost that and get a little more traction. We're doing some amazing things down here in South Florida in the nonprofit space, is really giving back to the children's mental health, and where I actually started championing a foster kids program down here. So the Fix Foundation, FIIXX, 2 I's, 2 X's, the Fix Foundation. That's my nonprofit organization. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. But yeah, jump on the wave, man. We're gonna start having more celebrity events down here, golf tournaments, all kinds of cool stuff. So I know a lot of our followers are from up north, and I know a lot of you guys come back and forth. But make sure you stay tuned, because I want all you guys to come and be a part of the events and the cool stuff we're doing. It's always chock full of celebrities and pro athletes. And I actually, one more thing, I got asked to do a TED Talk. So October 24th in Tampa, the other side of Florida, I'll be at the Straz Center on the big stage giving a TED talk, man. So anybody who's in Tampa or has the opportunity to come out in October, you got plenty of time to plan. It's a cheap flight from up north. Come out and support your boy, man. I love to have as many of you guys in the audience as possible because I'm representing for us.
Absolutely. It's always a wonderful thing, especially with children's, all the different children's charities and
Sure.
projects. It's a
And the
beautiful thing. So,
veterans, yeah, we
yep.
champion the United States military veterans dealing with PTSD. Like, it's my organization was founded to kind of bring a voice, a celebrity voice, to raise awareness for the nonprofits that we deem to be impactful, the groups that really need a little help, to put them on a bigger stage, to give them the opportunity to raise capital and keep doing the work that they do. So, check out my page, man, thefix.org, and you can see the web link, see some of the newsletter and some of the cool things we're doing. But I challenge all of you, get right with God, give generously, and help somebody else this week, man. Make it one of your milestone goals this week to go out of your way to do something you normally don't do. Go above and beyond for somebody else and
Well
inspire
said.
others, yeah, in the process. So
Well said, brother. Well said. I'm right there with you. All right, guys. Again, thanks for watching. Bruce has been our guest. Bruce Soscia. He's a wonderful actor, and I got a feeling you want to keep on growing, brother, that next level and
thank you.
beyond. So, looking
Thank you.
forward to watching you on your journey, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank
All
you,
right.
everybody.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll catch you again next time on Inside Hollywood with Vinny. Have a good
Let's
night, guys.
do it. Peace.